Hey everyone, it's Wama and I hope you are doing well, and in today's video we are going to be diving into an analog horror video simply called Pinocchio Analog Horror. Now this video did pop up on my feed a couple of days ago, and honestly I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't really gotten much traction by now, since the video is incredibly well done from the art style to the voice actors. But yeah, this video is super creepy and I'm really excited to show you guys it. But before we get into it, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment bruh, as all these things for some reason do help me out a lot. Also check out the merch if you haven't already. It's super cool. It's there if you like. But yeah, let's get into it. The tape opens up with Geppetto grieving the loss of his biological son, Carlo. He sits there contemplating his entire life while drowning his sorrows down a bottle of scotch. Happy birthday, my son. I'm sorry, there wasn't anything I could bury. El Duce is gone. Shouldn't be much longer now. And as Geppetto says this, we can see the planes flying overhead, his son losing his life due to the ongoing war. And based off of him not being able to bury anything in memory of his son, his life was most likely lost in a bombing of a building. As the war that is taking place during this video is World War II, and the El Duce that Geppetto is referring to is Benito Mussolini. Benito Mussolini was primarily known as the founder of the Italian fascism and the dictator of Italy from 1922 to 1943. He was also known as Tu Dulce, the leader. Mussolini's fascist ideology, which emphasized extreme nationalism and military strength, served as an inspiration and model for other dictators like Adolf Hitler. All of this means that this tape does take place sometime during 1939 to 1943, given that that is the time frame in which Mussolini was active and World War II was taking place. But going back into the video, Geppetto gets up and begins to leave the cemetery. However, when he leaves, we are visited by this ghostly spirit. Where is my body, Papa? Back home, Geppetto is in a fit of rage, furious that he couldn't even bury his own son's body, and to channel his frustrations, he begins to work.
Everyone said she was pretty, she was not long in destiny. All alone, oh what a pity, poor little maid.
And being a carpenter, he figures that maybe he should build something resembling his son, so at least he can bury that. Please God, just let me have something to bury. And sure enough, Geppetto's wish is granted to him, though it will be a wish he will come to regret. The next thing we are shown is a statue of an angel representing the blue angel from the original fairy tale, the one that would bring life to the wooden boy. And upon being given life, the first thing that Pinocchio decides to do with it is to end another's. Geppetto is then woken up by the sound of a wooden mallet slamming onto the ground and traverses his home to investigate the noise. Geppetto, now in this horrid sense of fear, decides to grab both the flashlight and gun from his drawer. And when he turns the corner, the wooden doll he had carved to bury is now speaking to him.
Who's there?
Papa, is that you?
Caramillo!
Papa, it's cold. It's cold and I can't see anything. What's happening?
No! You died!
I know, Papa. I know, but I can't see. I can't feel anything.
It was just supposed to be an army camp. If I knew what they were going to do, I would have never let you go.
Let me go? Papa.
Geppetto, after shooting this being that claimed to be his son, sits at the cemetery once again. At least now finally able to bury a body in place of his son's. Now, the ending of this analog horror video is incredibly bizarre to say the least, as we are left with this really weird scene where Pinocchio looks at Geppetto very fondly before disappearing completely. Now, when Geppetto first speaks to Pinocchio, he tells him that he's sorry, that if he knew that it was anything other than just an army camp, he would have never had let Carlo go.
It was just supposed to be an army camp. If I knew what they were going to do, I would have never let you go.
And this is being in reference to the Italian fascist youth organization created by Mussolini, functioning between 1926 and 1937, which was intended to train children as soldiers and turn them into, quote, the fascists of tomorrow. And it does seem that that is how Geppetto's son's life was lost. Perhaps he was sent into battle as a child. The original story of Pinocchio is actually pretty dark as well if you aren't already familiar with it, as it features Pinocchio essentially mistreating Geppetto and beating him when he doesn't get his way. And in pretty much all iterations of Pinocchio, he's kind of teetering this line of how terrible of a boy he can be. Like, there's this scene in Guillermo del Toro's version of Pinocchio where he just straight up pulls a T-pose in front of Christ. But in the original story of Pinocchio, it goes like, a poor man named Geppetto wants to carve himself a marionette in order to make a living as a puppeteer. He is given a piece of enchanted wood, and as soon as Geppetto carves the puppet, which he names Pinocchio, it begins the old man. Once its feet are made, Pinocchio runs away, and Geppetto is arrested when he seizes the puppet. Sorry, I'm just imagining like Geppetto carving this wooden child, and then it begins beating him, and it doesn't even have legs, but he continues to carve it anyway. Just burn it. Pinocchio returns to Geppetto's home alone, and when the talking cricket admonishes him, Pinocchio kills the cricket, going his own way and ignoring all advice. Pinocchio soon falls in with a variety of bad characters, particularly the fox and the cat, who schemed to steal the 5 gold pieces Pinocchio was given by Geppetto. Eventually, the fox and the cat, disguised as assassins, hang Pinocchio in order to get the gold pieces. However, the fairy saves Pinocchio at the last moment. When Pinocchio lies to the fairy about the gold pieces, his nose grows comically long. Later, Pinocchio again falls in with the fox and the cat, who trick him out of his gold pieces. Eventually, Pinocchio finds the fairy again and comes to live with her as her son. Twice he begins attending school, and twice he allows himself to be led astray, the second time resulting in him becoming a donkey. And after further adventures, Pinocchio is swallowed by the terrible shark and finds Geppetto living in the shark's belly. Pinocchio rescues his father and thereafter takes care of him. The fairy then turns Pinocchio into a real boy. I don't know, Pinocchio just kind of sucks. However, what gets me about this analog horror inspired Pinocchio story is the question of whether or not it's actually Geppetto's son's spirit speaking to him, as I also thought that it may be some twisted way that the blue angel we saw in the window is messing with him. The blue angel posing as Geppetto's son through the body that he created to bury. The blue angel using the voice of his dead son to guilt Geppetto even more than he already is.
I know, Papa. I know, but I can't see. I can't feel anything.
Simply to cause him even more suffering. As his son asks his father, "Where is my body?" Geppetto being forced to put down his own son.
Papa.
And so I am kind of torn between these two theories that I have for this video, that this is either the blue spirit possessing the body of the wooden boy and posing as Geppetto's son as a way to simply torture Geppetto even more than he already is. Or it actually is the spirit of his son who has been placed into the body of the wooden boy, only to feel death once again, and this time by the hands of his own father. Regardless, both are pretty dark. As for any criticisms, I would have liked if this video was slightly a little bit longer. Also, if it included a little bit more of Jiminy Cricket before he gets hammered. Perhaps maybe even a scene of Jiminy Cricket trying to persuade Pinocchio into doing the right thing. I think that would have been really cool. But overall, a very creepy video. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I give this one 2 big booms. And I do want to give a huge thank you to all my beautiful channel members, as well as my ultimate tiers, Kareem Ariano and Alejandra from the Tower. If you do want early access to videos and your name right here, it's only $1.99. And yeah, that's everything. Check out the merch. Love ya. Bye.